Hello and welcome back. We
Hi,
have
guys.
with us singer, songwriter, and visual artist, Aris. Hello, Aris. How are ya?
I'm great. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing well,
good.
Doing well. Can't complain.
Sipping on a little bit of wine.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you have your drink next to you.
Yep. We're doing a lot better this half of November after that crazy election. So I've just been in lighthearted spirits.
Mm-hmm.
As lighthearted as I can be, because I just feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like it actually was a dream or something. It's some bullshit. I feel like is gonna happen just because it's 2020.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's just my pessimism.
Haven't we suffered enough?
How have you been doing since quarantine, Aris? We've been in a pandemic, which feels like 2-3 years now.
Seriously.
This year has been the longest year. So how have you been able to cope with everything?
I've consumed a lot of bourbon, quite a bit of bourbon.
Facts.
Yeah. That's just on the surface. But yeah, aside from that, refocusing, I think a lot of us have used this opportunity of this year to figure out like, where are we going? What are we? Who are we? What do we want to be now that we're not like in that whole cycle and that circle of that machine that we were in? And it's given us all a moment to just like regroup and think about what's next. So yeah, bourbon and recentering and staying prolific and staying creative for me has been the thing that's kept me alive.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, Aris, I'm not sure if you remember me, but I used to host a lot of events for the Trevor Project, and you actually headlined one of our events. I can't remember how long ago it's been. So do you
2015.
Yes. Okay, so you do. Okay, good. You have a better memory than I do.
It was at Marquee. Yeah.
It was at Marquee.
You
were there.
I was there.
I think all of us were there.
Yeah, I was there. I just saw
I think all of us were there.
Pop up recently that was on that carpet.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Anyway, that was a lot of fun, and we raised a lot of money. So thank you for lending your talents for that evening. It was phenomenal.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So my first question for you is, did you always know that you wanted to grow up and be this talented of an artist, or did it just happen sort of spontaneously?
I think that growing up, I was the awkward, weird kid that, was in a place that was really misunderstood. I went to a school where sports was the thing. So like if you didn't play basketball, you were not anything. And my dribble is not so cute. I can dribble, but I can't dribble a ball. Let's put it that way. And so it didn't work so well for me. And my obscurity and my own isolation into my poetry actually ended up creating this art. So I think I could never have expected that, being the unpopular kid and having to put my feelings in pages would end up being something that help me connect with people later on in life, but I guess life is funny like that.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
That's it does. I mean, that's really good kind of segue into my question for you. It's been said that your music has so much emotion, desire, and passion, which you kind of just alluded to. Where does this come from in your life to be so open and full of hope and emotion? Because I think a lot of our listeners would love to feel how they can be so hopeful and so prideful like you are.
Well, I'm super emotional in general. I don't know if it's just like my nature or if it's like a circumstance of the experience of my life and the people around me. But I feel like I capture that with my recordings and with the music that I put out. And over the course of the last few years, I've realized that I'm not just here to make music, but the things that happen to me in life, some of which have been really difficult, losing my parents, breaking up with many partners that I loved quite a bit. Like these things are not just to hurt me or to like devastate me, but maybe they're experiences to grow and learn from, not only for myself, but things that I can share with others. So maybe y'all can skip a step or two and not have to do the same stupid things that I did. Although I welcome it. It's fun to make mistakes, right? But yeah,
right. Mistake is my middle name.
That was my early 20s.
Still happening. I don't know.
Yeah. What is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Capricorn.
I'm a Cancer because I'm super emotional too. I'll cry at the drop of a hat. So just thought I'd ask.
How about everyone else on the line?
welcome
want to thank
to
our first responders.
Yeah, and I was like,
Nice,
Get
Adam.
in that pot and pan. Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. I woke up to that on what morning was it?
Today.
No,
you woke up
no.
screaming today because somebody was loud outside.
oh
the
yeah, and I
window.
was on a Zoom call.
And you started cussing. You said, "What the fuck?"
Oh, well, that, but not that. Whenever Joe Biden was announced to be elect, I woke up to everybody just hooting and hollering pans. It was amazing. It was a great way to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to you, Aris. Do you think you will have a position in Joe Biden's cabinet?
Wow. Well, he hasn't reached out yet, but much like everyone else is saying, if there happened to be a position that was right for me, I wouldn't say no.
Right.
Or at least just play at the inauguration, you know?
Well, it's going to be a big concert, unlike Trump's inauguration, which basically
Right.
there was like a child
Sad.
performer from Chuck E. Cheese. That's all that was pretty much there. But
Wow.
it's going to be the concert of the century.
Who do you think will perform at the
I
inauguration?
think Lady Gaga. You know, she
think
and,
so?
and Joe,
Yeah.
because her and Joe Biden are like BFF. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
guaranteed,
that would be dope.
This is her time.
She went hard for him in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She fell in love with the boy from Pennsylvania.
What do you think she would sing?
Wow.
I'm on the edge.
Like, because like, would she sing one of her songs, or would she sing like, you know?
I feel like she's gonna mash it up. She'll do like America the Beautiful, Born This Way, Alejandro
Yeah.
Americano. She's gonna give you everything.
Okay.
And she'll like drop out of a helicopter and like
right.
planes will fly
There'll be
around
drones
her.
everywhere.
She'll drop in like a Gloria. Who was the witch from the Wizard of Oz that came down in a bubble?
Glenda.
The one who
Glenda.
solved all the
It's like
problems.
Gloria.
But you know, for me, what I think would be a great song to sing would be Freedom. So talk to us about your new single coming out, Freedom. I'm so excited. We listened to it. We had it blasting through the speakers in the house. It's so amazing. So please talk to us and our listeners about that.
That was a great segue. If Lady Gaga wants to sing my song, she has full rights to. I'm gonna just wave that. Yeah, my new single Freedom is out now. I wrote the song at the end of last year, right when the primaries were heating up, and everyone was really getting engaged politically. And I recorded it pretty much when the protests started. So it was a very, very intense time where you could really feel the vibe of the people. And I wanted it to sound like a campfire song, so like that you'd be sitting around the campfire singing in unison. And we released it a couple weeks before the election, and the video includes footage from protests across the country, as well as people that have submitted their footage to me of expressing their personal freedoms. So it's been really awesome to put that out at a time when like it's meaningful, you know, and it actually touches people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And will
guys.
that be on your upcoming album, your new album coming out, Through the Storm?
It will be. It's track 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So where did the title Through the Storm come from? Was it something that you've had like planned out, or was it like a aha moment and I was like, that's it?
Both those things, kind of, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like for me, this is a collection of work that talks a lot about my journey through the storms. So what does the storms mean? My own personal struggles, the life as it is right now, 2020, and the years prior. I lost both my parents in the last few years, and that impacted me in ways where I felt like I had to write about it. And I feel like grief and grieving is something that is still kind of taboo, and we don't talk about it as much. But these are things that every single one of us is going to deal with at least once in life. And we're going to feel alone, but we don't have to. So the way to fix that is to start giving people access and not being so closed off and private about these things. So yeah, there's songs about that process of going through those storms, relationships ending, finding self-love, mental health. I'm a big advocate for speaking about mental health. I feel like that's another taboo, you know, like in the last few years, suddenly now we're able to talk about it and feel like it's not bad. But still, how many of us are going to be affected by it? There's so many that we'll never even know because they're not diagnosed, you know, but there's still that thing where if there's a situation in a room where someone's suffering, we don't know how to confront it. So yeah, again, just bring it into the surface, out of the shadows and into the light.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
You mentioned losing your parents both in this past year. And I know that your lyrics and your songwriting like speaks to that, the recent ones. Would you mind for our listeners just expanding on that a little bit about how they passed and how it affected you and how it's contributing to your songwriting?
Sure. My mother passed about 8 years ago now, and that was during Hurricane Sandy. So that process was very difficult. She actually was in Bellevue Hospital when the power went out. So dealing with just like the institutions that we trust failing and trying to figure out where to go from there. And then my father passed about 2 years ago, and my relationship with him was not as good as relationship with my mother, but I got to be there for him in ways that I wasn't able to be for my mom, just because I wasn't able to be in the hospital at the time because of the natural disaster. So, you know, I felt like until those things happened, I still was a child in ways that I didn't realize. But when your parents pass, it is that rite of passage where you're like, okay, it's real now. And for me, I come from a very small family, so like there's no one that's going to catch me when I fall now, and that is both scary and very motivating. I gotta tell you, I became a much more I guess they call it pounding the pavement. I pound the pavement a lot harder now than I used to. So it's a blessing, but that informed me in ways where I realized that I'm young to experience both parents passing. My parents had me when they were older, and there are a lot of people that haven't been through it yet. And what I can give them is go hug your mom and dad. If you have an argument, don't be sassy to your mom. Like everyone I tell in my life is like, yes, she might be annoying, but she's gonna be gone tomorrow, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I wish she would just annoy me 1 minute longer. So it's about gratitude. It's about passing along that message of just like appreciation and gratitude, and like just being present in the moment, because you gotta soak it up.
That's 100%, because I felt that way once this pandemic started. It really put into perspective things for me that were like, maybe this isn't as important as I thought it was. And I made a conscious effort to speak to the family every day, at least just a little something. That way we don't go weeks at a time before it's like, oh my god, how are you, what's going on, and so I really feel that. I'm sorry about that too. That's terrible.
Thank you guys, I appreciate that. It's, again, my parents had me when they were older, so they didn't pass young, but it's just life. And the thing that we do is we adapt and we grow. So I'm glad to be here with y'all talking about it.
Absolutely.
And you're incredibly
all we
strong.
can do is celebrate their life. Keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
So how are you going to celebrate with your album coming out? And how is that looking for you with the pandemic as far as like promoting? Do you plan on doing like maybe a live concert, or how do you plan on doing that?
Well, I live in New York, as y'all probably know, and right now we're going into a spike. So it's very unusual time. And we're about 8 months in, so performers are starting to figure out how to pivot and how to move from traditional performances into this new scope. Live performances is real tricky in terms of getting people in a room, especially like probably the album will be out in the spring, so it won't be like battling the snow being outside, but finding the right space and making sure everyone feels safe and feels comfortable. I do have something planned, which is going to be really fun. I'm going to do a listening and then maybe a little performance at a space that's outdoors. It's a pier and waterfront. So people will be able to either take public transportation or drive and socially distance and be able to do that thing. Now that's still TBD, but that's what it's about. It's about trying to figure out how to make it happen. And either way, I'll be doing like pre-recorded live performances and having those distributed either like once a week, once a month, a song at a time, or a couple songs at a time, so people can see live versions of the work that I'm putting out.
That's really cool. Well, let us know about that, because we will definitely come and support. Safely adhere to the guidelines, of course.
And we will safely take a shot of bourbon with you to celebrate.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
then I'll gladly make that happen.
Awesome.
I miss concerts, but I do think it'll be cool to have I think most concerts will be outside.
Yeah. It's about the crowd control that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, that's true. And I think concerts should be outdoors anyway. Like we went to Kim Petras at Radio City, and it was like cool, but It
It's a
was
little awkward.
It was an awkward setup.
And they're like, no standing in the aisles. And I was
Mariah
like, wait,
Carey
why?
there.
Yeah,
Which it was fine, but it was just like, yeah, it's
I
kind
need
of like
to move. I need to be able to move and groove.
Yeah, and you kind of feel almost obligated to sit down rather than stand up.
Yeah, and then it's like if we stand, we're in the way of people who are trying to sit. Whatever. Anyway,
I wonder too if they'll do like drive-in concerts, like they've been
They
doing.
definitely will. They
Right?
definitely will. That's
Yeah,
where
I think that's
going.
really interesting.
And
Like they
the
do
Flaming
attraction.
Lips, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Flaming Lips did this concert where everyone in the audience, including themselves, were in those like inflatable bubbles. So everyone had their own personal space. That creeps me the fuck out though. What if you have to pee?
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you
feel
like,
Oh.
what do you do? Like, oh, I
Right,
can't do it. So, like,
claustrophobic.
yeah, no.
Well, actually, since we're talking about concerts, I kind of want to take it back to get your thoughts on this. So Taiwan and also Australia have both, they shut down for a long period of time. And this past weekend, I believe it was, Taiwan was able to have the Ultra Music Festival. And it was packed and crowded because they literally shut down, I think it was for 60 days. And they had no infections in between then, letting people kind of go out. How do you feel that's something that the US, hopefully with our new administration can implement and we can be able to start doing to start to see arts come back alive again?
I'm glad you said with the new administration. I feel like if we're going to keep it real, it's going to still be the cultural divide of the blue state, red state phenomenon. And yes, in blue cities, you're going to have venues that are able to manage this well. But in red states where people still don't believe that wearing masks does anything, no, I don't envision much really changing there, but that's okay because it's more fun to tour on the coasts anyway. So let's just keep it rolling.
Right.
I do think
That's
a federal policy is going to be important, and hopefully the Biden administration will mandate as much as possible, or at least encourage people at a federal level to do the same thing all across the country instead of different things in every state, and that will be helpful.
Yeah, because I feel like when I, used to go to concerts, I would go to concerts even if they weren't in my state, like even if it were in a red state, it's kind of hard to regulate state by state, in my opinion. But
it's very interesting that people are politicizing this because years ago, not obviously when we were alive, seatbelts were not a thing until finally realized seatbelts had to be a thing, and like people had to use it to protect themselves. So I don't understand.
Wait a minute, seatbelts are a thing?
Right, exactly. I know. Yeah. And it's like,
no,
it's so
I don't have to wear a seatbelt because I believe in freedom in America, and I
exactly.
And people don't get it. They're like, I'm being infringed upon. I'm being told that I can't do something, and I really think it has to do with the current outgoing administration, because I feel like if this was any other case, people would happily put on masks. If it was George Bush, Bill Clinton, President Obama, if there was these other people who said, oh, put on a mask, I don't think it would be this much outrage, just because we particularly had an administration who stated, don't do it. And they said, well, we support you so much, we'll
do whatever you say.
We'll die right
drink
with
bleach.
And it's so sad.
We're almost out.
Yeah, it's almost over, y'all. Don't worry.
It's almost over.
Couple more weeks.
I hope. Because I felt like I said earlier, I was like, I'm just waiting for something to happen and be like, oh, actually, it was a joke.
I feel like Trump is definitely going to be kicking and screaming out, and I can't wait. Because I want to see that. I mean, he's a reality TV star, so
and so he'll get a TV show on like something. Somebody will give him a network.
I hope
not.
Some
network will give him a TV show.
We'll see. So, Aris, you have your new song that's already out. You have your album that's about to come out, and you're going to let us know about all the details where we can come support you, COVID friendly. What about after all of this is over with? Like, what's next in the long term, be it a writing project or your acting or your visual artistry? What's next for you?
I tend to wear many hats, which is why I like to call myself a visual artist, not just a musician. And, we live in a world where things are changing rapidly, but art is always going to be my passion. And right now I am finishing up my album, which will be out in the spring, as we talked about. I'm working on a documentary about My mom's passing, my father's passing, and again, a tool for grieving and healing. So helping other people move through that process, which hopefully will be out in a year or two. I'm also very unexpectedly refinishing furniture and making men's jewelry boxes because 2020, baby. You gotta keep
I got some furniture pieces. I'll call you. I need some help.
You gotta grab a hustle.
I don't know how long I'll be doing that for, but I have really enjoyed the process of like reclaiming things that have been left behind during this pandemic and making something amazing and new out of them. And
awesome.
yeah, so we'll see where that goes. And yeah, eventually a self-help book as well for mental health is something I'm really encouraged to work on, and a lot more music. So acting, who knows if the right role comes around. Everyone always tells me I should play a vampire role, so we'll see. Like, I don't know.
Well, I've been known to write a few things. I don't know if you know. So the next time I write something, maybe you'll be in my mind. I'll call you.
Call me, beat me.
If you want to reach me.
Well, Aris, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. For our listeners out there, where can they find you and follow you and stay updated with all of your happenings that are upcoming?
On the street corner mostly. No, hustling.
This bitch. I hope you're wearing a mask out there.
Right.
Several. And the face shield. No, you can find me on my website, www.aris.fm. That's like frequency module, like radio station. Also on social media, on Instagram at Aris Ziagos, Facebook, Aris Records, and Twitter, Aris Ziagos, and YouTube, Aris Ziagos, and not TikTok yet, but we'll see. As long as the Trump administration lets us do it now,
Right.
we're gonna TikTok and we're gonna be dancing and stuff. It's gonna be
Right.
Oh, TikTok was petty actually the other day and posted, and they said, "Hey, Trump, are you still taking us down or not? Because we have some new stuff we want to put out." So everybody's being petty at this point.
Isn't that sad? It's just come to be all petty. It's just all petty now.
Yeah, it's just petty gay drama.
Petty gay drama. Anyway, Aris, thank you so much. Keep performing, keep inspiring, because you're affecting many lives out there, and we are just so appreciative of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So good to chat with you tonight, and cheers. We're gonna do a virtual clink here.
Let's link up soon.
Yes.
Let's do it in the real world.
Bye,
Soon. Bye. Have a great night, guys.
Yes, absolutely.